Pre-assessment. Now, I think pre-assessment is one of the least appreciated and utilized tools that we have. Rarely do we go into a lesson worrying or wondering about what my child already knows. And so what we happen is we assume everybody knows nothing. We go back to the drawing board as if we've never taught it before. Parsha is particularly guilty, or halacha, right? They've never learned the halachas of Rosh Hashanah before. They never learned Parshas Kisisa before. So let's go teach it as if they never heard of Moshe Rabbeinu, that there was an Egel Azav, that there's such a thing called Luchos, and we start really from scratch. Now, of course, not everybody does that. But I don't think there's necessarily a rhyme or reason by which we approach many things. Wouldn't it be neat if we gave everybody in our class a multiple choice test 3 months before Pesach, and we found out what they already know? So that with the 2 hours or 5 hours or 8 hours that I've allocated for Hilchos Pesach, I can really determine what am I going to focus on. They already know about Bedika and Biur, and they know all of that. A quick review will be sufficient. But maybe I need to drill down on the issue of Mechira, because they have no clue of what that looks like. Just for argument's sake.
KWL.
I'll get to that in a second. KWL is a way by which to do that. What I know, what I want to know, and what I've learned. It's a graphic organizer. And so KWL tells the students, put down everything you know about Rosh Hashanah. First, put the halachot on the top, put the minhagim in the middle, put about the tefillot in the bottom, whatever it is, put everything you know about Rosh Hashanah on the page. Now that you've put down what you have, talk to your friends and find out, what else do you want to know about Rosh Hashanah? Maybe you want to understand the Akedah better. Maybe you want to understand what the Simanim are all about, because they seem so strange to you. I'm aware. We're Russian.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay?
You can have longer.
And so this way, what do I want to know? Now, what's the benefit of what I want to know? The benefit is twofold. Number one, it gives you some feedback, it gives you some direction. Number two, it makes the students invested players in your classroom. So until now, you were the almighty source of knowledge, and whatever you determined is in, and whatever you determined is out. Exactly like this class today. Okay? On the other hand, if all of a sudden the students now have an opportunity to say, this is what I want to learn. Of course, you can't necessarily give them everything in class. Maybe you can give them resources outside of class. Maybe you could tell them, talk to me after school, we'll take up 15 minutes, we'll spend some time learning this. Wouldn't that be neat? My teacher cared enough about me and my interests that he spent or she spent 15 minutes after school one day to give me something that I was never going to learn otherwise. Okay? And then you fill in the last column at the end. What did I learn? Look at this. Right? Isn't it neat that by the time you're done today, you're able to look back at your handout and see all the nice stuff you wrote. And you say, I learned something today. We all want to feel that way. We're adults. Don't you think the kids want to feel the same way? Okay? So pre-assessment. The earlier you can do it, the better you can plan your lesson. The more strategic you can be. It drives decisions. What's the information? What are the skills that my students need? And of course, then you move forward accordingly. The flexible grouping has to do with, how do I position my students to learn the content? Is it going to be total all class? Is it going to be alone as an individual? Will it be in a pairing, in a small group? Right? That's where cooperative learning comes into play. That's where differentiation of the process comes into play, where you're making decisions based on what you think the students need to support their learning styles and to support their learning. Because you have a lot of interpersonal learners in your room, and you probably don't really give them much of a chance or enough of a chance to engage in that way.